The truth is not for everybody. Everybody doesn't like the truth. Everybody doesn't appreciate the truth. And we got to keep that same energy. We got to keep that same energy with every single fighter. We can't switch up. We can't change up. We can't be different. We got to keep the same energy. Now I'm going to tell you this. A lot of booty clappers won't like this. A lot of men twerking in the street won't like this because everybody does not like nor appreciate the truth. And we got to get into it. We got to get into Canelo Alvarez vacating his 168-pound IBF world title. We got to get into the fact that people, even Box Raw, are supposed to be a neutral boxing clothing site, are having Terrence Crawford images cropped knocking out Canelo Alvarez. They believe he's super bud. I mean, we got to keep the same energy. We got Mbilli versus Sergey Deverenchenko. We got that coming up. We got everything in the sport of boxing. Is David Benavidez going to come back to 168 and snatch up the IBF belt and try to unify with Canelo? Is that next for Canelo? Is Canelo Benavidez next? Is Canelo Crawford next? We've heard the Turk talking out of his ass. The Turk is a casual. Mind you, he's done some excellent things for boxing, but he's obviously a casual wanting to make dumbass fights. And yes, we call him Super Bud. They believe Super Bud can go up and knock out Anthony Joshua because he beat up a weight drain Errol Spence. We got to keep the same energy. And that's all we're going to do today. So if you're on the line and you want to get on with the landlord and you want to talk about Canelo vacating his belt, Canelo, is he ducking William Skull? Is that what they're saying? Is that the new narrative? If that's what they're saying, what's next? Super Bud. You want to talk about Super Bud? Whatever you want to talk about, you can get on with the landlord. We're going to drop the link. But I got to start with something today that's been bothering me. Now, I want to just tell you this real quick. Just real quick. You know, me and my brother, we went to a strip club the other day, you know. We went to a strip club the other day. And, you know, we were having a good time and you know, all of this type of stuff. And it reminded me of boxing because I'm in a strip club with my brother and we see some cheeks and they bouncing everywhere. And I'm having a great time and I'm throwing money and I'm having the time of my life. My face is in between two sweater cows. That's what it is. My face was in between two sweater cows. I'm having a great time. I'm going crazy. I'm yelling, it's the landlord. I'm having a fantastic time at the strip club with my brother. We're doing it. Slapping cheeks, milking sweater cows, having a great time. But the problem that I had that brought me back to boxing, the problem that I had that brought me back to boxing is my brother turned to me and said, hey, I think she likes me. And I turn and look at my brother and I'm like, you mean to tell me you dumb enough, stupid enough, moronic enough to believe that the strippers like you? You believe that the strippers like you? You can't be this stupid. I had to body bag my brother on the spot. Man, sit your dumb ass down. There's no way that you dumb enough to believe that the strippers like you. And that brought me all the way back to boxing. Because if you think Terrence Crawford is going to knock out Canelo, you must be dumb enough to believe that a stripper likes you. If you believe that Canelo's ducking William Skull, then you must be dumb enough to believe that a stripper likes you. That's what we're talking about. These guys right here don't make any sense because everything always comes back to boxing. That's what it was. The strippers are there for a payday. I had to check. What are you talking about? They're here for a payday. And yes, those cheeks were honest and unbiased. And we're going to keep that same energy. We're going to keep that same energy because they were honest and unbiased with the landlord. I'm dropping a link. Anybody want to get on here with the landlord, feel free. We ready to get it today. Canelo Alvarez is going to vacate his 168-pound IBF world title. He will not face his mandatory in William Skull. He will vacate the belt for another fight. He will vacate the belt for another fight. He will not be fighting William Skull. And look, I'm going to tell you this. The thing I don't really understand about it is I don't know if the Terrence Crawford fight's going to happen. If it does, it's weird because how does the Terrence Crawford Canelo fight happen and it's not for undisputed? You would assume Terrence Crawford would want to move up to 168 to fight Canelo, but only for undisputed. So it's weird that if Canelo's vacated the belt, I can't see him fighting Terrence Crawford. I don't see it. I can see David Benavidez fighting, Canelo Alvarez, no matter if he got the belt or not. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be honest and unbiased with you about it. I want to see Canelo Alvarez against David Benavidez over everybody else, period. And we got the first call on the line. My brother, Untouchable Raider in the building. What's good with you, Untouchable?
What's good, IVFP? How are you, my man?
I'm pretty good, my brother. Talk to me. What do you think about everything that's going on and Canelo vacating and Super Bud and the Turk and everything else?
Hey, but first off, man, that story was pretty funny, man. I had a good laugh of that story.
Hey, man, so let me ask you a question real quick since we're going to just speak on the story for 1 second. Don't tell me you were ever caught in the strip club believing a stripper like you. Please don't tell me you were like my brother.
Hell no. Hell no. I'm not like that, man. I'm not with that.
Okay, man, because my brother was tripping, man. You know they don't like you.
Hell no. They in it for the payday like Charlo.
That's it. They just want a payday. But yeah, let's talk to me, my brother. Tell me what you're thinking, man, and what you want to get into first.
Man, so Canelo is vacating his belts. I just feel like he's gonna fight Benavidez next. He's gonna fight Benavidez, but he's kind of being like a little tricky about it because he don't want Benavidez getting those belts.
I see what you're saying. You think Canelo Alvarez is saying, "Look, I'll fight David Benavidez, but I'm not going to put the belts on the line. I'm going to, if you do beat me, you won't go undisputed," is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see. You think Canelo cares that much if Benavidez goes undisputed or not? If he wins, you think it really matters? Because a loss to Benavidez, it's going to be the same. It's going to hurt the same whether he loses all the belts or none of them, right?
Right. Because, anything can happen in boxing, man.
That is true. And here's the great thing. If Canelo comes back and recaptures that world title and somebody else picks it up, then that means Canelo Alvarez is 2-time undisputed at 168, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
So he got a chance to come 2-time undisputed. But who do you think Canelo fights next?
Benavidez. The fight's bound to happen. It needs to happen. Yes.
That's the fight I want to see. I don't want to see Bud Crawford. What do you think about a Canelo Crawford fight? I don't think that fight makes sense.
That shit is stupid, man. That shit is just stupid.
I agree. I don't think it makes sense. I don't want to see Canelo fight that guy. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't want to see this dude move all the way up in weight to fight Canelo Alvarez. I want to see him go for greatness in his own weight class and try to do things there. Don't try to move up in weight and fight Canelo and mess up the fight that everybody wants, which is Canelo Benavidez.
Man, like I had to argue with like 10 different people about this. I said that Crawford, man, that he's not. I said that he shouldn't move up in weight. He just wants a payday, and they're saying like, oh, that Crawford's gonna beat Canelo. Crawford's gonna whoop him. I'm just like, oh my god.
Now I'm gonna tell you this. They said Caleb Plant was white chocolate and he was gonna outbox Canelo, and then he lost. They said Callum Smith is a guy Canelo would never fight moving up, the best fighter at 168. Then he lost. Then they changed it to David Benavidez after everybody else lost. I keep hearing this narrative. I heard that Triple G was going to knock out Canelo in the first fight. Then he was going to knock him out in the second fight. Then Triple G was going to knock him out in the third fight. I literally keep hearing these narratives about Canelo. And sometimes I start to think, do people believe that Canelo Alvarez is trash? Do they believe he's garbage? I heard Sean Porter. Sean Porter said Canelo's a B fighter. Now think about this, Sean Porter, whose whole career been a C+, maybe a B fighter, thinking that you and Canelo on the same damn level?
It's just ridiculous.
It don't make sense to me, man. It don't make sense to me, my brother.
Hey, but man, how do you feel about the Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney situation?
Man, that situation disgusts me because people ignore facts on that situation.
Right.
And look, man, they say, oh, Ryan's guilty. First off, let me make this clear to everybody. You're not guilty of anything because you failed a drug test. There's been many people that have been vindicated when they failed the drug test. The problem that we have here is no one wants to let due process happen. No one wants to give Ryan Garcia his day in court. They want to just say, oh, he's guilty, failed the test. That's the end of it. We don't want to hear nothing else. Why? Because they want to hold Devin Haney's nuts. So anybody that want to call Ryan Garcia without at least giving him his day in court, please wipe your mouth off, you filthy animals.
Yeah, have you seen like Logan Paul's like suing Ryan Garcia?
No, I didn't know that, man. I don't know what Logan Paul. Oh yeah, yes I did. I come to think of it. Yeah, he's suing him for that whole prime thing. Something about the drink.
Yeah, I don't drink that, but
Yeah.
I was gonna say, man. One more thing.
Yes, my
How
brother.
do you feel about the like all this like illegal streaming, man? Because it's getting to the point where it's getting out of hand.
I think the pay-per-views go up and people stream it legally again only if the prices come down. Every fight every month is a pay-per-view and it's like 89, 79, 99. Like it's always big prices. You would sell more pay-per-views if you did them for like a $30 pay-per-view, a $40 pay-per-view, $25 pay-per-view. You probably do 1 million buys with a $25 pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You can make up more in volume than you can in just gross sums. But these guys seem to be so like fixated on saying, no, we got to get $100 for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because we're paying like all this money for the zone, and then they want to pay us for the zone pay-per-view.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn said, oh, we're getting away with the pay-per-view model. We're going to do this. Now every other fight on the zone is pay-per-view. I think that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Man. It's like with the NFL now with YouTube TV. We got to pay for the Sunday ticket, and that's like for the whole thing, it's like $400.
Yep. It's just crazy money, and you're just pissing it off. And I'm telling you what, I don't want to pay pay-per-view for fights that are not really pay-per-views, like Tszyu versus Fundura. That's not a pay-per-view.
Yeah, no.
That's not a pay-per-view. Tszyu versus Keith Thurman wasn't a pay-per-view. Tank Davis versus Frank Martin ain't a pay-per-view. These fights are just not pay-per-views, and people are putting them up there like these are big pay-per. These are not pay-per-views. I don't want to see Canelo Berlanga or Crawford. Those are not pay-per-views. I don't care what little Bud Crawford fan that thinks that this man is super Bud. That's not worth $100 pay-per-view for me. I don't understand. I don't know why the Turk's a casual. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I've been seeing about the Turk, man. He's just saying these dumb things, man.
Yeah, if the Turk keeps going like this, I'm going to start calling him the turd because this shit don't make sense.
I agree, man. But I'm going to hop off, man. I'm going to let you get someone else. But, hey, man, I guess you're one of the best boxing channels out there. Take care, man.
Thank you, my brother. Salute. No Diddy.
Salute.
All right, that's my brother, Untouchable Raider. Salute to you, Untouchable. My brother, JXV88, says, please cook according to boxing. Debate that. Ooh. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I think according to boxing used to be a part of my channel or at least commented or something. I feel like we've had some interaction at some point. But according to boxing, if you ever want to talk boxing, if you ever want to get on here and debate the landlord, feel free. Because the smoke is always open. And now I already know, according to boxing, he's a Canelo hater. He's a Benavidez fan. He's a Crawford fan. He's basically anti-Canelo. And I have no problem with it. Look, you don't have to like Canelo. You don't have to be a fan of his. I just want to see Benavidez Canelo. I think Crawford Canelo don't make sense. Now, that's just me. If you truly want the best to fight the best, I want Canelo Benavidez. That's what I want. Above all things, I want that fight. All right, let's get to the next one. Before we get the next caller rating, and don't forget to click that link if you want to get on with the landlord. My brother Junior, he says Canelo versus Mbilli instead of Crawford. That'd be an interesting fight, and if Mbilli snatches up that IBF title, that would make a lot of sense. Junior, welcome on. What's good with you, my brother?
Hey, what's going on?
What's good, my brother? Talk to me.
What do you call it? I don't see the fucking hype about. Oh, I'm sorry if I cussed on your channel, but
no, you man, talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit.
Nah, I'm just tired of seeing this Crawford hype. I mean, yeah, he's a generational like talent, but he's not that type of freaking like Sugar Ray Leonard or like Duran like moving up weight division. Like he's not like that. He's only fought maybe C and D level fighters. Spence was never a good fighter. It's like what that guy said. He was media hype and media created. I just never thought Spence was like that. So I'm like, okay, you beat Spence. I mean, that's cool. I mean, you didn't beat no kill like Triple G. You didn't fight no Bavol, you know? So I just don't see how these guys are going to make it a fair fight between Canelo and Crawford. I can't see it.
I'm gonna tell you this, man. This is the thing that a lot of people just seem to not want to get. Terrence Crawford's own team said that Errol Spence Jr. is a hype job and was created by the media. He was never that good. But then people want to base that win and say this is what makes Terrence Crawford a god. This is what makes him super bud. And in beating Errol Spence was never truly a great fighter. Even Crawford's own team said this. They've said this. And so my whole thing is I don't see how just because you beat Errol Spence means that you beat all these other top boxers and fighters. You can just run through divisions. You can do this. You can do this. I guess people have a short attention span. I guess they forgot he got dropped by Mean Machine. I guess they forgot that. I guess they forgot he got rocked by Gamboa. I guess he forgot that he was down on the cards versus Porter and his team was freaking out, telling him to press for the knockout. I guess they forgot all these things. I guess these guys just have a short-term memory. The moment he beats Errol Spence, everything else goes out the window.
Yes, sir. You are correct. It's just the one thing I don't see. I never thought Spence was that good. You know why? You know the fight that showed me that? It was against Kell Brook, who got his face broken and he was wagering on that fight versus Spence, and Spence had a lot of trouble versus Kell Brook. And before that, I mean, we saw Kell Brook get one of the worst ass whippings in a while against Triple G, you know? So I'm like, okay, I mean, it's not that freaking like I'm not impressed by that, you know? You lost to Kell Brook, who got whooped by Triple G and got his orbital bone broken, you know, like
I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna tell you this. Errol Spence has had a very overrated career. I mean, think about it like this: he beat a weight drain Kell Brook off of a knockout loss. Of course, Kell Brook was supposed to lose the fight, and he damn near almost pulled it out. The fight was competitive the majority of the way through, and then Kell Brook just seemed to wear down based off of his last fight with Triple G. You've seen Errol Spence. A lot of people, and myself included, believe Sean Porter outboxed him in their fight. And then you also see that Errol Spence couldn't knock out a little bitty Mikey Garcia. So you're talking about a guy who has no significant power, who got rocked by Ugas, looked like he was hurt. I mean, this guy's supposed to be some kind of killer. And then this is the guy that everybody thinks is better than Canelo Alvarez on the same level. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think Bud Crawford's an excellent fighter. I think he's an elite fighter. I even think he's a great fighter. But I think his resume is weak for a reason. We have yet to see him truly tested. Now he's about to fight a guy who has leaky defense, who he has a long reach over, and Madrimov. This should be easy night's work for Terrence Crawford. Madrimov is an average fighter, maybe C level, C plus. He's not even a B fighter. I think the guy's been vastly overrated simply because he's a Terrence Crawford opponent. The reach is going to make a difference. Crawford's going to keep him on the outside. The guy's going to run in and get hit with everything he sees coming.
Honestly, I agree with you to a certain point, but I think this will be his toughest fight because Madrimov, he can move, you know, and Crawford's never fought someone who can move around like that. And unironically, I think Madrimov would whoop Spence, any version of Spence. I just think Madrimov's a better fighter than Spence. Like,
I mean, look, I don't think you have to look hard to find a better fighter than Spence. I mean, think about this. Gamboa gave Terrence Crawford a better fight than Errol Spence. Jeff Horn gave him a better fight. Jose Benavidez Jr. gave him a better fight than Errol Spence. Sean Porter gave him a better fight than Errol Spence. All these fighters gave Terrence Crawford a better fight than Errol Spence. We can't judge by that. You just want a competitive fight because Crawford still whooped all these guys' ass. And I don't think Madrimov's any different yet. Is he going to give Terrence Crawford a better fight than Errol Spence? Absolutely. My grandma would give Terrence Crawford a better fight than Errol Spence. Sorry ass. I mean, let's just be real about it. And so when I look at it, I'm looking at Madrimov with a huge reach disadvantage, Crawford with the speed, the skill, the IQ, the experience, everything over Madrimov with 11 professional fights. He got a nice amateur background, but he doesn't have all the great things that a guy like Usyk or a guy like Loma has in his bag. See, those guys got a lot of amateur experience, but they got footwork, they got head movement, they got defense, they got a lot of levels of skills. Madrimov don't have that. Madrimov is a basic fighter coming in, and his footwork's a little sloppy, and his defense is wide open. I promise you, he will be easy pickings for Terrence Crawford. But yes, he will be harder than Errol Spence because everybody is.
How do you feel about Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz?
I think that's probably the fight of the year for me. I think that's going to be the fight of the night. I think it is a 50-50 fight, but I believe that Virgil Ortiz, that's his coming out party. I could be wrong. Tszyu could prove me wrong. He's an excellent fighter, got a lot of pop, But I just from what I've been seeing of Virgil, I'm a big believer in Virgil Ortiz. I believe this is his moment. I believe he's the only other fighter in boxing, along with I believe Archer Beterbiev with 100% knockout ratio in this many fights. And so we will find out if Virgil Ortiz is the real deal. I got Virgil Ortiz by stoppage.
Yeah. Honestly, I have Tim Tszyu stopping him in the 8th and 9th round.
Oh, I'm not mad at that at all. I can definitely see that happening too. It's gonna be a tale of who's the real deal. Is it really Virgil Ortiz or is it really Tszyu?
I think Tim Tszyu's the real deal. I mean, that's a bad that's a bad man out of Australia right there. It's just
he really is. He really, and I got a lot of love for Tszyu, no diddy. I got a lot of love for Tszyu, no diddy, man. The man's an excellent fighter. And shout out to the son of Cambosis.
Well, last one before I get off your channel, but who do you have winning? Freaking, how do you see versus Tank and Frank and then Benavidez versus Gvozdyk? How do you see those fights going? I think they're trash in my opinion. I think those are like one-sided beatdown fights.
I agree.
Tank and Benavidez.
I think as far as the Tank Davis fight with Frank Martin, it's the battle of the 30-year-old virgins. And so basically, I see that Tank Davis is just more skilled, more talented. He's a bigger talent than Frank Martin, who's never done anything and never proved anything. So I'm going to go with Tank Davis by stoppage in that fight. With Benavidez and Gvozdyk, this shouldn't be a close fight. It really shouldn't. If David Benavidez is who he says he is, this should not be a close fight. David Benavidez should go in there and utterly destruct this man. But I expect David Benavidez to start slow and lose a few rounds early. And if Gvozdyk has anything left like he did previously, he can probably even upset David Benavidez. But it really depends on what Gvozdyk has left in the tank. Prime Gvozdyk versus prime Benavidez, I'm picking Gvozdyk all day. But at this point, Gvozdyk has been retired. He's not the same fighter. I just don't see him getting a victory over David Benavidez.
Yes, sir. What do you call? I'll come back on your channel after the fight. I think Gvozdyk might stop him. I think he has a puncher's chance of stopping him.
Hey man, I'm gonna keep.
I don't believe in Benavidez. I think he's not a fraud, but I don't think he's like that. I mean, I think beating up freaking 154 and 160 midgets, compared to cruiserweight, is not impressive. If I'm being honest.
I agree 100%. And I'm going to tell you this. If Gvozdyk stops David Benavidez, that will be one of the biggest upsets in boxing right now. If Tank loses, that will be one of the biggest upsets in boxing. Those two guys should definitely win and dominate their fights. If they lose, we're going to be on fraud alert all night.
I don't think Tank will lose. Tank's footwork is pretty freaking good. Freaking Martin's last fight, he struck. And that guy's pretty good, but that guy is not really a killer. That Artem guy, he's not really a killer. He's a good fighter, but not a killer. All right, brother. I'm gonna get off. Have a good one.
No, did he? All right, salute, family. Salute to Junior and my brother. Let's get to the next one. Martin Pettis says Derevyanchenko is going to cook Mbilli. That's going to be a great fight. This is Mbilli's coming out party. This is Mbilli's opportunity to come in and really just show out and beat Sergey Derevyanchenko. If Mbilli loses to Derevyanchenko, he's a hype job and a fraud and don't deserve any respect. But I expect Mbilli to be young and strong enough to get the victory. We shall see, Martin. I think Mbilli got a lot left in the tank, and I think this is coming out party. But we'll find out if that's right or wrong. My brother Lord Scante, 6'9". What's good with you, my brother?
What's good? What's good? How you doing?
Pretty good, my brother. Pretty good. Talk to me, my brother. Tell me what's going on.
Look, first I gotta disagree with the last caller. I think Virgil, no disrespect to Tim, but I think Virgil's gonna cook his ass.
I agree. Virgil just different, man.
Yeah, for facts. I mean, if you want to break it down, I feel like Virgil has fought better opposition than Tim. I mean, from Tim, I get it. The last fight he had a cut on his head. He couldn't really see. But, he looked pretty bad, but we'll let that one slide. Other than that, who was his best win? Tony Harrison?
Oh, yep. And I'll tell you this, look, and I like Tszyu, but think about it like this. He's going to be there for Virgil Ortiz to jab his head off the whole night.
Yep.
His, if you want to give Virgil Ortiz some problems, you can't just have power. You got to be able to have good footwork. You got to be able to move. You can't be sitting in the line of fire of all those shots for Virgil Ortiz. He's throwing too much heat. It's just like Archie Beterbiev. And we know Tim Tszyu's a good fighter, talented, but he's gonna absorb a lot of shots, and that has never worked out for anybody. That stepped in the ring against Virgil. This is gonna be his coming out party because right now nobody gives Virgil respect. He wins this fight, he's gonna get all the respect in the world.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Tim Tszyu style is just like the old Mexican style, like like Angulo type shit. Like just take 3 in the face just to give one, like
yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, you want to talk about Canelo? I think him dropping the belt, I think that's basically him saying like, everyone complains about Canelo, right? Like about why did he fight Ryder? Why did he fight Yildirim? But I feel like this guy might be just a little too low, and even he recognizes that, He's like, nah, I can't do that to himself because the haters are already on him anyways.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, look, you look at John Ryder's put in his work over the years. People argue he beat Callum Smith. He definitely beat Danny Jacobs, beat Zach Parker. You got to give that man his credit. He put in the work to get a Canelo fight. Yildirim, Canelo had to fight him to make sure that he could go undisputed. So that had to happen. But this guy is just an absolute pointless fight for Canelo unless he wanted to offer, like, let's say he was fighting Bud Crawford next. Then it would make sense for Canelo to fight him, keep the belt, and fight Bud to give him a shot at undisputed. But if that's not his plans and he don't give a damn about giving these guys a shot at undisputed, then the hell with it. Vacate the belt, move on, and fight whoever you want to fight.
Also, I think that the fact that he's dropping the belt, he's cooking something. Something's cooking up right now. I mean, I really don't hope that. I really hope it's not Crawford, but I really want that Benavidez fight. But I wouldn't mind if it was Crawford. The only reason I wouldn't mind is just to get all these damn fucking dick writers, like, silence them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can definitely understand that thought. I'm going to tell you this. Do you think it's Benavidez or Crawford, or who do you think it is right now? The only reason why I can't really see it being Crawford is if Crawford want to move up and fight Canelo, wouldn't he want to fight for undisputed?
Exactly. I think, honestly, personally, I think it's going to be Benavidez. I mean, you got to think of it like this. When he signed that 3-fight deal with the PBC, honestly, who in their right mind thought that Benavidez was going to be first or second fight? To me personally, I feel like it's going to be Benavidez in September.
I'm getting that feeling too. I'm hoping it's Benavidez. That's the fight that everybody wants.
Yep.
That's the fight that launches Canelo and those pay-per-view sales up to record numbers again. That's the only fight that makes sense.
I mean, they could talk shit on Canelo all they want, bro. If you're not a Canelo fan, cool, I get it, bro. Like everyone, even people that choose certain fighters over others because of the skin color, bro. I get it. Trust, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is, bro. But be honest about it.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be Benavidez, bro. Honestly.
I'm telling you, if that happens, that's going to break records. Everybody's going to go crazy, and then all of those people that said he was ducking, he was running, he was scared, they're all going to be in hell. They're not going to know what to say.
Facts.
They're going to be like, no, the narrative's going to change from he's ducking to he's getting knocked out.
Exactly. Yup. I mean, let's be honest, man. Like, when was the last time Canelo ducked somebody? Like, you can't really say, like, you can't really say, like, oh, Canelo ducked this person, ducked this. Like, you can't, bro. Like, you really can't.
I'm gonna tell you this. Look at Canelo's resume, and people want to talk about who he ducked and this and that. Canelo didn't duck no smoke. Cleaned out 168. Fought Floyd Mayweather at 23 with a catch weight. That showed you his nuts right there. Floyd Mayweather was the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He risked his entire something everybody's protecting right now. But yeah, Canelo laid that shit on the line at 23 with a catch weight. Knew damn well the odds were stacked against him, but he let his nuts hang. He fought Landy Lara, highly skilled. Demetrius Andre ducked this guy, but didn't nobody say anything about it. Canelo Alvarez. And that Lara was more skilled than Demetrius Andre. Was more skilled than both of the Charlo brothers.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yet nobody will give him credit for it. And then he fights Triple G 3 times. But some idiots still say he ducked Triple G. Makes no sense. Triple G was also pound for pound #1. So he's fought 2 pound for pound #1. Moved up to 168, fight Callum Smith, World Boxing Super Series winner. Huge height, reach, supposed to be a big puncher, yet Canelo goes up and lets his nut hang. And this man ain't ducking no smoke. Said he was going to duck White Chocolate and Caleb Plant for the last belt. Whooped his ass. Snatched Sergey Kovalev belt at 175. And then he fought Dimitri Bivol at 175, and they say, oh, he lost. Wait a minute. I thought he was supposed to take risks. I thought he was supposed to let his nut hang. So now, because he loses a fight, he's trash. And he's not, but he's a ducker still. It don't make any sense.
It don't.
Facing greatness.
It don't. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't know if it's because I'm Mexican, bro, or if I'm biased. And I'll admit it, bro. I have no problem admitting that I'm more biased towards Canelo, but I'm objective. But to me, I think he won that first Triple G fight. I mean, yeah, people are going to say, nah, he lost. He started moving backwards, blah, 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 whatever. But then you turn around and say, oh, Tank Davis, all of a sudden he went from a knockout artist to a boxer when he fought Pitbull.
That's very true. That's very true. And look, styles do make fights. And I'm going to tell you this, man. If you go back and watch all the Canelo Triple G fights, you'll really see those fights. All of those fights were close. None of those fights were blowouts.
Yeah, exactly.
The first fight was close. The second fight was close. The third fight, Canelo clearly destroyed him. But you don't take that into effect, not only because Canelo was injured, Triple G was older. So I don't even look at the third fight. I look at the first two. Both of those were close fights.
Yeah,
and I'm okay no matter how you see them. At the end of the day, people are going to call you a fanboy no matter what you believe. You can say, oh, no, I think, Usyk's the best fighter in the world. Oh, you're a Usyk fanboy. No, Canelo's great for being undisputed. You're a Canelo fanboy. It's always going to be some excuse they're going to call you a fanboy. I was just saying how I didn't like Ryan Garcia before he fought Devin Haney. And then I'm defending him about some of these allegations that have come out about the drug test. Now I've never been called a Ryan Garcia fanboy as much as I have in my life. These guys look for meat to ride every other week. Wipe your mouth off.
Exactly. Hey, man, you know what? I got into a little exchange with that dude, Tatted Up Boxing.
Oh, yeah?
I got into a little exchange with him the other day. You know what? I don't think I don't think he's a bad guy, man. I think he just don't really know, man. Because he's over here talking about Canelo needs Benavidez for him to be cemented. Like, nah, bro, you tripping, man.
Look, I'm going to tell you this. And look, this is no diss at him or anybody else. The fight that every Canelo fan wants to see is Benavidez. And I think sometimes people get that mixed up. And they say, oh, you should just shame or shit on Canelo. And it's like, no, wait a minute. Canelo's legacy is already secure. The man has already put in the work. There's nobody else that's been undisputed at 168 but Canelo, period. The man's a 4-way world champion. What are we talking about? The man has the best resume in boxing. He's taking more risks and chances. Even if he lost the fight, he's still taking those chances. What do we mean his legacy's in question? That's a fight that we all want. We're frustrated that we haven't gotten it yet, but it's still possible. But I don't think that means that anybody's a fanboy or that his legacy's on the line. I've never heard that. Like, to me, if somebody tells me that his legacy is in doubt because he hasn't fought Benavidez, they simply don't understand boxing. Canelo fighting Benavidez right now, legacy-wise, won't do shit for him. Legacy. It'll change perceptions of the casual fan, but it won't help his actual legacy because he's not a champion and he's lost the belt twice. Won the cocaine and won the Taco Bell.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Not a legacy fight.
Yep. Hey, you know what? To all the fanboys out there, it's okay if you're a fanboy, bro. It's okay. Just don't try to push your ideas on other people. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to ride for Tank and you think he's the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread, that's cool, bro. Handle your shit. You know what I'm saying? But just don't try to be out here trying to like shame other people because you want us to see Tank in the same light as you do.
I'm gonna tell you this. Tank Davis is probably the most overhyped fighter of the last 20 years. I mean, the guy's 30 years old, never fought a pound-for-pound fighter, never fought an elite fighter. People give him credit for Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia was never a world champion. Ryan Garcia only has that one hook. That's it. And Ryan Garcia had nothing else. He whooped Devin Haney's ass, but Devin Haney's obviously a fraud, and we can all see that.
Yeah, facts.
And so, 100%. Like, at the end of the day, and the man has to put 2 weight clauses on him. And anybody believing that Tank Davis is truly a beast, truly a great, simply don't understand anything about the sport of boxing. And it's okay that you think that Tank is great. That's fine. Put on your Tank Davis shirt, paint your nails, wear your purse, slap your ass, and salute to Tank. but that man ain't great.
Yo, you want to know what the sad part is too? Tank could be great. Because I could see the skills. I could see the skills that he got. He's fast. You know, he got a boxing IQ, but he just a bitch, man. He won't take the fights. Like he won't take the fights that people want him to take fight. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I agree 100%. And I'm gonna tell you this: Tank Davis has pound for pound talent. He's not a pound for pound fighter. A pound for pound fighter is a fighter that you know that's out there fighting the best. So Tank Davis would be easily pound for pound if he would have went out and fought Teofimo and beat him, went out and fought Lomachenko and beat him, really just whooping ass, taking names through all the weight classes. If he actually was the one that went out and beat Devin Haney instead of letting Ryan Garcia do it, he's not letting his nuts hang. So he's not a pound for pound fighter. We see he has a lot of talent, so it's no hate on Tank. He's a talented fighter, but he's not a pound for pound fighter because he ain't did shit to warrant to be on the list.
Exactly, man.
Facts.
But I'm out of here, Nuke. Nice talking to you. One more thing before I dip, though.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Head Kid, that damn red coat.
Shout out to Hit Kid. Hit Kid somewhere breastfeeding a turtle.
All right, Nuke. Cool chopping it
Salute,
up
my
with
brother. All right. That's my brother, Lord Scante, man. We get to the next one. First, Big Cup of Joe says, salute, Nuke. I think people are underestimating Tszyu. He would have stopped Fundora in about 6 rounds without that cut. I got him beating Virgil. And Big Cup of Joe, I don't have no problem with that because he definitely has the ability, the power, and the talent to be able to hurt and win and beat Virgil Ortiz. I do think that is truly a 50-50 fight. And yes, you're right. People have been underestimating Tszyu. Tszyu's a hell of a fighter, an excellent fighter. And I'll tell you this about Tszyu. I think if Tszyu did not get that cut, he would have easily stopped Fundora. But I will tell you this against Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is no Fundora. I expect this to be the hardest fight of both of those guys' career. I expect it to be a great fight. I believe Virgil will win, but I would not be surprised if I'm absolutely wrong and somehow Tszyu pulls that win out. I salute to you, my brother, Big Cup of Joe. Now, this is a name that I've been familiar with, Ashy Knuckles. What's up, Ashy?
What's up, IB? What's going on, man?
What's good, man? Talk to me, Ashy, man. It's
Nothing,
been
man.
a while.
I was listening. Yeah, it's definitely been a while. Been meaning to get back to you, but I was listening to one of your prior callers on there. He was saying that well, actually, you and him was saying that Crawford had drained Spence, but
Oh, I didn't say he drained Spence.
So what was the comment you made then? That's basically what you.
I never said that I never said that Terrence Crawford drained Errol Spence. I've never said that. I don't know what comment you heard. I never said that he drained. Now, if the other guy said that,
maybe I heard him say that. Which, because I was about to say, I was like, well, shit. I mean, Canelo had a rehydration clause in the Danny Jacobs fight and the Kovalov fight, so like you can't really just use that as they draining him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's look at those as two different things. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence were both campaigning at welterweight, were they not?
Yes, they was.
Okay, and did Danny Jacobs adhere to any rehydration clause?
No, he didn't. But of course, he gonna set the fight. He wanted the money.
Hold on, Ashy, just hold on. Let me finish my point, Ashy. I respect you. So Danny Jacobs didn't adhere to any rehydration clause. He came into the fight overweight, and Canelo was okay with it and allowed the fight to proceed and still won. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so Canelo still won the fight. Danny Jacobs was not drained, so therefore he should never have even been mentioned. But that's just my opinion. Then we get to Sergey Kovalev, since you pull him out. The only thing I'm going to tell you about Sergey Kovalev is Canelo Alvarez is undersized at 168 as it is. And so the fact that he's willing to even take a fight at 175 is commendable. Sergey Kovalev had no problem with that because he felt like Canelo Alvarez was a small guy moving up in weight. So it makes perfect sense for Canelo moving all the way up to 175 for the first time in his career, fighting a world champion coming off of 2 knockout wins over 2 undefeated opponents. I think that was reasonable for a little guy moving up to 175 to put a rehydration clause on. But that's my opinion, Ashley.
All right. So, I mean, you said, I just wanted to ask you a question about another comment I heard you say about the Gvozdyk and Benavidez fight. You said if Benavidez lose that fight, that would be considered a major upset. And I'm trying to see how is that if his only loss is to Benavidez, which is maybe right now maybe the best fighter pound for pound in the sport right now.
And you can even make that argument, and I have no problem with that. The only problem that you're forgetting in this statement is, did Gvozdyk ever retire?
Yeah, he retired, but he also done had some tune-up fights since he been back
Yeah,
too. It's not like this is his first fight back.
I agree. And what level were those tune-up fights?
I mean, to the level of what's going on in light heavyweight boxing right now. I
And
mean,
so,
who he was gonna pull the top people was what Better Beef and oh boy that had fought, I forgot his name, that fought Canelo and won. Like
Bivol.
those is like the two prime tops in that division right now. So who else he was gonna fight?
Yeah, but
That's gonna really make sense besides the ones that he fought.
I understand that point, but what you're missing is it doesn't matter who he was or couldn't fight. What matters is he fought 3 low-level fighters and he was retired. And
Right.
so when you take, I know, so when you get stopped in your last fight, then you take years away from the sport, then you come back and fight 3 low-level opponents. We don't really know what you have left, do we? Until we see you in a big-time fight. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but that's why I feel this is a big time fight that's coming up for him. I mean, like I said, besides Better Beef and damn his name be forgetting, be passing my list.
I mean,
not Gvozdyk, the one that had beat Canelo, his last loss.
Bivol.
Yeah, Bivol. Now I feel those is like really the top two. I mean, like if he would have fought Bivol, maybe like that second comeback fight, that probably would have been a tune-up fight for people to be able to see, to gauge where he's at. But being that maybe he got the advice from his trainers, to take something light, being that he's been off for like 3 years, that's kind of understandable. You ain't gonna just jump back 3 years and fight like a number one contender.
Nobody's blaming him for that. I'm just simply saying that right now Benavidez is on a roll. So David Benavidez is active. He's young. He's hungry. He's a big fighter. Moving up in weight, should be more comfortable at 175. Then you got a Gvozdyk who's older, who has some miles on him, who's already been stopped, who's fought 3 C-level fighters at best, and who's been retired. So you have to favor the younger, fresher, more active Benavidez. Wouldn't you say so? Do you favor Benavidez as the favorite in that fight?
Oh, definitely. But I'm not going to say it's going to be a cakewalk, because if Gvozdyk if he just come on his A game, he could get Benavidez a hell of a fight. Now, yeah. I like Benavidez. I'm a Benavidez fan. I like other boxers too, but I can't admit that would be a hard fight if Gvozdyk is on his A game. Now, if he's not on his A game, then I could see that fight being over between no later than the 8th to 10th round.
Now, but if he's on, I'm a Benavidez fan myself, and I know a lot of people look at me and say, you're not really a Benavidez. I am a Benavidez fan, and I'm gonna tell you this: I applauded him for taking the fight. I'm not. I think he wins this fight, and if he does win the fight, I give him full credit for the fight. I'm not gonna hold anything against him, because I think this is a quality fight for David Benavidez, and experience to grow, get experience, and all of that. So I'm not mad at him for the fight, but I do think it can be competitive. But it really depends on how much Gvozdyk has left in the tank. If Gvozdyk is close to where he was before he left, I think Benavidez is looking at a different fight. But if Gvozdyk is done, then it should be an easy walkover.
I agree with that. And, me being a Benavidez fan, I'm not going to really gauge his greatness. Now, if he make it past the Gvozdyk fight, and if he's not in the ring with Benavidez and he takes the winner of Bivol or Better Beef, that fight right there would tell me, will really gauge me where his talents is at. That or a fight with Canelo. Anything else, I would say he been fighting like B level fighters. I would say that. I'm not gonna say, because really he haven't fought any A level fighters. I'm not gonna even say Boo Boo's A level. I'll give Boo Boo a B.
I think that was real fair of you. I'll ask you this. Let me get your predictions on 3 fights. Benavidez, Canelo, if that happens next. And if that doesn't happen next, Benavidez, Bivol, and Benavidez, Better Beef. How do you see all 3 of those fights? Who win? Who do you got on all 3 of those fights?
Okay, I'll start with I'm gonna leave the Canelo. I'm gonna leave the Canelo one for a second. I'm gonna start with the Bivol first. Bivol, I think if he could close the distance on Bivol, I think he could take Bivol, because he has a little bit more size than Bivol. I believe he really could take Bivol. Now, as far as in Better Beef, I don't really know that right there. That's a hard fight, because one good hard punch of Better Beef land, and you might see Benavidez with stanky legs in there. So I really don't know if he will win that one. Now, as far as in with Canelo, that's also a toss-up too, because Canelo is a hell of a fighter. Now, the only issue I have with Canelo is some of the fans. Other than that, I believe he's a hell of a fighter. But when that fight do take place, I think I think if Canelo could get him out of there by around that 9th round, maybe that 10th round, I think he have a better chance than maybe going the distance, because maybe Benavidez might outpoint him. But then again, I don't know. That right there, I'm not going to even lie to you. That fight is a toss up. I really don't know. But I could see Canelo winning. I could see Canelo winning, but I could also see David maybe taking it, edging it out on points. I don't see him knocking Canelo out. If anything, if he do win that fight, I believe it'd be edged on a decision. So
And
that's the only way.
If it's a close fight, maybe we could end up getting a rematch, and that could lead to a trilogy. You never know. It could be one of the great trilogies of our time. We just got to get the fight.
Yeah, that's all we need. I was looking at one of Benavidez' interviews. I believe he took either a couple of days ago or last week, and he was saying that, if Canelo get to 200 million, and if they fight, he was just going off his bravado. He was like, if he win, he'll get his payday will come in the rematch.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you see Canelo, if Canelo was to win that fight, do you see him giving Benavidez a rematch, or do you think he'd just maybe ride off into the sunset and retire?
It would really have to depend. I don't think Canelo's going to retire anytime soon. I've heard him on record a few times already recently saying that he's enjoying boxing. He loves it. He feels refreshed, and he wants to be here for at least 3-4 more years. And so, if he did win that fight, I don't think he would rematch him if it was not a close fight. Like, so if the fight was very close or controversial, like razor thin, and there was like 1 or 2 rounds separating it, and they edged it to Canelo, I could see a rematch possibly happening, because everybody will say, "Hey, we need that rematch."
Yeah, I could see that, because I didn't really at one time I was thinking this is where my mindset was at before I really started analyzing, where Canelo was coming from. I was thinking, well, maybe he'll take the Benavidez fight for his last fight. Maybe that'll be the fight that he'll be like, you know what? This will probably be the biggest payday. I could just go ahead and ride off into the sunset and call it a career. But then I was thinking, if he beat Benavidez, that's just going to boost his ego even more. That's just going to make him be like, everybody was saying I was scared of this dude. I was ducking him, and especially if he beat him in convincing fashion, like a knockout. I believe that'd definitely make Canelo stick around a little bit longer. But I heard you talking about the Frank Martin and
but right before we get to Frank, I just want to say this one thing for you. Junior said that you misheard him. He said Kell Brook was drained versus Spence.
Okay. I apologize. But I don't want to hold up your time, man. I'm just happy to
ask your questions. Ashley, it's been a while since we had this conversation. Ask your questions. You good, my brother? Talk to me.
I was just thinking, what do you really think about that Tank and Frank fight? I mean, do you really think Tank just going to run through him, or do you think he's going to put up a fight?
I think that Frank Martin's going to try to put up a fight, but I don't think Frank Martin does anything excellent. I don't think I see Tank Davis. His speed is excellent. His power is excellent, and he makes good adjustments. I don't really see all of that from Frank Martin, and if he has those abilities, it'll come out in this fight, and I'll be surprised. I'd be shocked. But I've never seen that from Frank Martin ever. So at this point, based on what I've seen of both fighters, I have to say that Tank should stop this guy at some point mid in the fight, because Tank is he's a much more special fighter, much more talent, and that talent's going to beat that. And Tank's really a hard worker too. So I can see Tank winning this fight, and I think it's going to be a blowout.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I just didn't want to be the one that just come out and be like, man, I think he's just going to blow this dude out the water. But to be honest with you, man, I mean, I kind of like Tank, man, but then again, I don't like Tank. I really want to see him get waxed one good time, and I don't know why I'm wanting to see that so bad, but it's just something about him just rubs me the wrong way. I just don't really like Tank that much. But I want to thank you for having me on the show, man. Like I said, I don't want to hold your time up. I'm pretty sure there's other guests that want to get on, and once again, I enjoy listening to your show, man. I get good knowledge, and also I get to laugh from a lot of the comedy that I hear on here. So I want to salute you, brother, and I want you to keep it moving on what you got going on, man. I enjoy the show.
Already, Ashley, and I want to tell you this, man. I know me and you don't always agree on everything, But I think that's the great thing about boxing is that we don't have to always agree. We can see things from different perspectives. And you did say that, you know, you like Canelo. He's a great fighter, but some of his fans, you know, I feel the same way about Benavidez fans. I think Benavidez is an excellent fighter, but some of his fans are a little far out there for me, man. That's
Right,
all I'm saying.
but I
And one
salute
question I had for you too.
I salute you, and even though I do have problems with some of the Canelo fans, I still salute them because I back your fighter, man. And if a lot of people back.
Ashley Knuckles, are you there? Ashley, I think we got a connection issue, my brother. I'm not sure what's going on. But salute to Ashley Knuckles. Welcome to Metro PCS. Emily Austin, Canelo claps David Benavidez. And then let's get the next caller on, man. Let's get the next caller on. Your Poppy is here. What's good with you, man?
What's good? What's good, IBF, man? I've been watching you for quite some time, subscriber. So much love, man. And I wanted just to put out there and say that freaking Tank Davis reminds me a lot of what's it called? Tank Davis reminds me a lot of Demetrius Andre. You know, he's going to be 31 years old. He's going to be a 40-year-old prospect, man, and he's not going to be fighting anybody. You know, and I don't know what you think about that.
And you know what? You hit the nail right on the head. I mean, this is a guy that's being hyped up. He just was emailed the belt. And so he's been emailed the belt. He's being hyped up. He's never fought anybody. And people talk about him as a pound for pound fighter, a generational talent, this and that. The only difference between those two guys is that, you know, Tank Davis, he can sell out an arena. Demetrius Andre can't sell a wing dinner. That's really the only big difference. And then Tank has power. And Demetrius Andre couldn't punch his way out of a cardboard box. But other than that, the hype between the two fighters, you're absolutely right. It's insane that people talk about these guys like they're just some type of great talents, and they ain't never proved shit.
Exactly. And another thing too, speaking about Canelo, I want to jump topic about that one. I don't even know why people want to see him with Crawford, man. They already gave him a lot of criticism when it came to Jermall Charlo. So why in the world is he going to go and risk his career by fighting somebody that's not even worth it? You know, that's like a lose-lose situation. You know, if you lose on against Crawford, which I highly doubt, but if he did, you know, he loses his reputation. But not only that, if he beats Crawford, it's not going to make any difference. He's still going to be in the same category, and there's going to be no benefit whatsoever. And like you mentioned earlier, the only fight that we all want to see is David Benavidez. That makes sense because David Benavidez is a natural 175 pounder. I mean, he could even go up to like cruiserweight if he has to. So it makes more sense for Canelo to go and fight someone like that with disadvantage compared to, you know, a Crawford that has, you know, he's pretty much a smaller fighter, man. He's going to fight a person that's 3 divisions below. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I mean, let me ask you this. If a Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford fight did happen, and that's not a fight I want, that's not a fight you want, that's not a fight a lot of people want. But if the fight did happen, how do you see the fight playing out? How does Terrence Crawford deal with Canelo? I mean, because I've played the fight in my mind a few times, and I know Terrence Crawford can't fight him toe-to-toe. I know Terrence Crawford said that he's going to use his reach, so that means he's going to try to keep his distance, stay away from Canelo. So is he going to try to hit and run? Is he going to try to be Shakur Stevenson?
You know what? It's going to be.
Plan?
Yeah, it's good. To be honest with you, man, he's going to try to do a Bivol. Because Bivol used a certain tactic by keeping the distance, right, and using his combinations. But the difference between Bivol and Crawford is that Bivol, of course, he's a much more heavier fighter, you know, and he was able to stop Canelo in his tracks by his power, you know, because you know the more weight, the more power. Crawford is going to be trying to do that. It's going to seem like it's going to be effective in the first couple rounds, but Canelo will adapt, you know, especially with his IQ, you know, he's going to adapt. He's going to counter him. He's going to hit him with those solid hooks and those counters that he does. Because he's an actual counter puncher. You know, he learned that a lot from Mayweather. You know, a lot of his style, and it's just going to go downhill from there. Look at Charlo. Perfect example. Charlo, you know, fought Castaño. You know, and it was a back and forth fight. Charlo was using his advantage over Castaño, but he couldn't do anything with Canelo. You know, he was running around the ring. It was a completely opposite fight than what he used to do before. So it's gonna be it's the same blueprint. It's gonna be like that with Crawford. He might he might do a little better than Charlo, because in my opinion, I feel that he's a much more superior fighter. But when the rounds come through, I think it's going to fall in the hands of Canelo, with his experience, his ring IQ, and his weight advantage. You can't deny a person's power once you move up in weight. And Crawford never fought somebody with that talent going up in weight. And in the big stage, I don't think he has any leg to stand on.
And the one thing I will disagree with you on, but it'll be respectful, is
No,
the Crawford Bivol thing and trying to implement that game plan. I don't think Dimitri Bivol's game plan is why Canelo lost the fight. I think Canelo gassed out in the fight. I probably watched that fight 100 times over and over and over again. And the one constant that I kept seeing was Canelo Alvarez was in clear control of the fight early. Even Bivol's own team said Canelo was winning all those early rounds. And so Bivol, his team, everybody were pretty much in agreement that Canelo won all the rounds or most of the rounds up until the point where Canelo gassed and Bivol took over. People talk about the Bivol fight like, the first round, it was a toss-up, and then Bivol just started schooling Canelo. That ain't what happened. And then even when you look back at the film, you seen Canelo's defense was impeccable. Like, Canelo didn't get stopped. He didn't take a knee. So this is a Canelo Alvarez who's gassed out at a higher weight. Canelo's never gassed at 168. And if you notice, Canelo in his last fight against Munguia, who's a heavy-handed puncher with a good chin, Canelo Alvarez threw more punches than he did in the Triple G fight, showing that, man, age is just a number. Time is just nothing.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
Canelo Alvarez never even took a seat. So you see that his endurance and stamina has even improved. Canelo Alvarez looks like he's preparing himself for a war, a much tougher stretch than what he's used to. And what happened against Bivol, he's not going to let happen again.
I completely agree with you. He does really good when it comes to fighters that go forward, right? I mean, it was a perfect setup when it came to Munguia, and all that. The ones that he has difficulty are the styles are the ones that are hit and run. Look at Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was in toe to toe with Canelo, maybe a couple rounds, but for the most part, it was always hit and run. Lara, same thing. Just the reason why the fight was up in the air for some people, right? Because Lara was a hit and run, and Crawford, he could utilize that same technique to beat Canelo in that aspect, and that's the only way Canelo might show any type of signs of a weakness, because he's not a type of person that goes and fight a person that hits and run. He doesn't like that. He likes people that are stand in front of him and fight, because that's his style. He likes to counter and he likes to hit hard. The harder the punches, the slower they are. When you're a lot more faster, you could hit and move. You're not going to reach a person like that.
And here's the interesting thing. So we'll go back to the Mayweather thing. Canelo was 23 at the time when the Mayweather fight happened.
Right.
So, Floyd pretty much dominated the fight over young Canelo Alvarez. And you remember people like, oh, Canelo had so many fights, but he had no amateur career. So he was basically learning on the job. So This is what people don't really understand. So when he's fighting Floyd Mayweather, that wasn't the best Canelo you're going to get, especially with a catch weight on him. You got a Canelo Alvarez that was young and still growing. And then Canelo Alvarez, sometime later, ended up fighting Erislandy Lara, a much more closer fight. And, very competitive. Canelo dug to the body, was much more patient than he was against Floyd Mayweather. Let the fight come to him a little bit more, even though Lara literally ran from him at times and not wanting to engage. I seen Floyd engage. I never even seen Lara really even want to do anything. So when you see the difference in that and Canelo's improvement, you said, okay, that's in a positive direction. And then you've seen Canelo go up to 168, his best weight. Every fight Canelo had at 168, he's won in convincing or dominant fashion. He's never really had a close fight at 168. It's just never happened. That's his best weight. His challenging fights were below and above 168, but at 168, Canelo's never had a close fight, period.
And I completely agree with you, brother.
And then hold on, and then you had Caleb Plant, who liked to stick and move, liked to hit and run. He was trying to use his feet a lot, and he's the one who ended up slowing down as Canelo kept breaking him down. Canelo Alvarez was winning the fight even before the stoppage. So at the end of the day, Caleb Plant may have won around here and there, but that style is not going to work at 168 because Canelo's not the same fighter, at a catch weight when he fought Floyd or or any of these other weights. He's a different beast at 168. His
No,
speed, the weight, and Crawford having to put on 21 pounds to come to 168, he's going to be a different fighter. Even Charlo was faster than Canelo in the fight, but it made no difference because Canelo was still able to cut off the ring. It's a different weight. It's a different fight.
that's why I completely agree with you on that, brother. You know, like you put example, Caleb Plant. Also, another example was Billy Joe Sanders?
Yep.
Billy Joe Sanders, very similar. Yeah, exactly. And both undefeated fighters, man, had the belts, and they couldn't do anything to Canelo because Canelo eventually
no
caught up.
blueprint on how to beat those guys.
Right, and those are kind of like slick fighters too. You know, those are two slick fighters, and they're at their prime weight. You know, it's not like they went up. They've been used to being in that weight class.
And well, not only that, these guys had advantages over Canelo. They were both bigger fighters than Canelo. Both of these guys were faster than Canelo. Both of these guys were said to have more skill than Canelo. But the moment Canelo beats him, that they're trash. But I'm telling you, before the fight, I heard how Billy Joe Saunders was going to school Canelo, and Canelo could never catch him. I heard how, Caleb Plant was going to embarrass him, and he's white chocolate, worked with Andre Ward's trainer, all of this, and how it was going to be a different fight, and he's going to learn. And then he lost. So at the end of the day, people say a lot of things, but it's different when you get in there with Canelo Alvarez. He's really a certain level that people don't understand until you get in the ring with this man.
And that's what, when it's all said and done, brother, I think that a lot of people, they put that in perspective and preferences, right? I think certain communities want to say, oh, well, this fighter, because he looks like me, right? Are going to go and try to beat this guy, and they try to debunk all the narratives by saying, well, my boy is going to be this fighter because of his skills, and he's not going to be able to hit Crawford, blah blah blah. And you have to look at it in an unbiased lens, unbiased perspective. You can't be looking at it in a racial perspective, because there's going to be so much opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, right? but the most important thing is facts are what matters the most. And when you see Canelo moving up and he's comfortable at that weight class and he's dominating, how someone that's going to come from three weight divisions below going to go up and dominate that person that's been the king in that division for and unified, right? Like I said, I'm just reiterating everything that happened before with Charlo, bro. Just look at that. Charlo he undisputed, and he went up and he couldn't do anything. I mean, and so like I said, it's a lose-lose situation for Canelo, brother, when it comes to this topic. And I feel that it's pointless even bringing up that conversation when it comes to Crawford. I mean, it's irrelevant. I think the most important thing is Benavidez. That's the only pretty much rival that he has right now when it comes to the 168 division. Even at 175, for them to fight either weight will be interesting, But for the most important thing is 168, and I don't care with or without the belt. Everybody's gonna watch it. Everybody's gonna stay tuned with it, and it's gonna be an exciting fight, man. But I guess it's just up to the two teams, and they have to pay Canelo what he wants. He's the king. He's the face of. In my opinion, I think he's the face of boxing. He deserves the money. He deserves the 200 million. If he wants 200 million, give it to him. Those Saudis, man, making all that type of money, right? I mean, what's you know what I mean? They're doing all types of stuff, right? So why it's not that difficult for them to give him the money. So let's see what happens. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. And hopefully we get the fight in September with Canelo Benavidez, and we can hear the end of all this Crawford talk. He can go on and have his career. Canelo can have his, because if you really want to try to fight a guy at 168, then you need to move up to 168 and stay there and fight everybody. Don't just try to pick and choose. Campaign where you want to fight.
Exactly, and that's what matters the most from that perspective, man. And then again, Gervonta Davis, man, he's got to step it up, brother. He's going to be a 40-year-old prospect, man, pretty soon. If he doesn't step up and fight the big names, to put his name in the legacy books, because everybody's just going to consider him as a undefeated fighter. But when you look at it, the nitty gritty, who has he fought? And that's what's going to play in the future. What's going to happen to his future with his career? I mean, and just like Canelo, people are downing him about different things, but he's fought so many good fighters. And he hasn't ducked anybody neither.
I agree. Canelo's out here taking more O's than Diddy.
You know, as a matter of fact, I think Diddy went through that. Oh, dude, if I'm not mistaken, brother. You know what I mean? And that's the truth, man. Hey, what is it? That's the what is it? Two blacks and one sugar,
That's it, man.
whatever.
That's it.
So, hey, man. Hey, one more thing, brother.
Yes,
Before I
sir.
let you go, what do you think about the whole Ryan Garcia situation, brother? I mean, it's just so insane the way things are going, the way they're trying to downplay this situation with
And
this man, and he's putting out all this evidence, and people are still going based on the B sample Austrian that they found in the system that automatically was going to come out the same as the A, and they're still trying to clown on him on that. They're trying to take his reputation away, and not knowing that he did the fair hair follicle and the nail sample. What do you think of all this is going on?
I'm gonna tell you this real quick about that. I think no one wants to give Ryan Garcia his day in court because they're afraid that he's going to be right. And this is one thing that boxing fans truly don't understand. Just because you fail a drug test does not mean you're a drug cheat or that you're guilty. There are
Right.
other reasons as to why people fail drug tests. Contamination is one legitimate reason. That's what it looks like. And at this point, Ryan Garcia has been doing everything to prove that. And not only that, no one, and this is what people don't seem to understand. No one's going to pass every drug test leading up into a fight except the one the day before and the day of the fight. Victor
Right.
Conti, Devin Haney's daddy, has come out and said, ain't no point in even drug testing fighters the day before a fight on because it's not going to make a difference anyway. But yet
Right.
he's out here on his soapbox calling Ryan Garcia a cheater. But he said out of his own mouth it don't make a difference. That's what I'm saying, because Ryan Garcia has had no benefit. And then the levels that he popped for, they were contamination levels. They were at the level where he would have gotten no benefit. So the ass whooping that Devin Haney got, he deserved. And it was
Yep.
all legitimate, all clean, all legal. Ryan Garcia was not juiced to the gills. I mean, think about it. And then even look at the products in the food that we eat. I'll give you this 2 items like the mac and cheese from Chick-fil-A and a
Right.
Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich contains over 256 ingredients. Think
Wow.
about that. So think about all the chemicals that are in our food, that are in our supplements. But these dumbasses somehow seem to think that if they won't piss test right now, they won't pop for something. Because
Exactly.
you don't have to know. The USADA has already been clear that that people have been purposely tainting supplements, dietary supplements with ostarine. Why have they been doing that? And it's illegal, and they have not disclosed that on the bottle. But why have they been doing that? Because they want their supplement to work. They want their supplement to help people lose weight and burn fat, and they want you to
Right.
keep buying it. That's why.
Exactly.
So when Ryan Garcia takes something that's over the counter and it has something in it that he doesn't know and he pops right before the fight, really it doesn't make any sense. And then you even look at suspicious circumstances. How did Devin Haney's own brother know that Ryan Garcia popped dirty, but yet the test results weren't due back for another 7 days?
Right. Exactly.
How does that make sense?
That's odd as it is, man. And then and another thing too, for them to pop him for another steroid that he never had in his, that he intentionally never had in his system. It's so strange for that to happen as well. I mean, that's not including the fight, the
Yep.
way it went down, right? But it all leads to suspicions, man. Like with the whole commission and everything, people retiring, ref
Yep.
was involved. You know,
Ducking
the
out.
judge was
Yep.
involved, popping for another steroid, and then they cleared him for that. You know what I mean? The only thing they could get him in is that low percentage of ostarine that he has in the system. I feel what they need to do is they just maintain his victory. I mean, if they have to suspend him, they suspend him. But I mean, if he has to pay a fine, he pays a fine. But just like Canelo with his situation, right? It
Yep.
should be the same thing that is going to happen with Ryan Garcia. And people are trying to bang the issue. You know, the biased media is trying to bang the issue by saying, you know what, just take his victory away. And with all the evidence backing him up, I don't even think that's even possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, I don't think so either. I mean, I think that that's wishful thinking. I mean, think about it like this: Ryan Garcia popped, and then you seen Devin Haney on ESPN Sports Center that night. The man was desperate to get his O back. He don't know that Diddy took it a long time ago, and so him trying to get his O back on ESPN ain't gonna help him. At the end of the day,
Exactly.
everybody know who Devin Haney is right now, and he's not going to be able to fix that because Devin Haney without his O, who's really interested in the Devin Haney fight if he's not undefeated? Because
No.
he put that above everything.
Right, exactly. And Ryan already exposed his chin. I mean, he exposed his style. He's subject to get hit multiple times with that same with that same left hook. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be subject to multiple hits for different reasons. You know what I mean? So different fighters. And look at his track record, man. He fought Lomachenko. He lost the Lomachenko fight. He fought Regis Prograis. He rehydrated to 20 pounds, 23 pounds more, right? I mean, all this an advantage from the judges, an advantage from his weight. I mean, he's not a legitimate fighter, man, to be honest with you, after seeing everything that happened. And Ryan Garcia just put the nail in the coffin and expose this man. So I feel his career is not the same. I think it's over. He should just take the money, the money that he got, and just ride out to the sunset, man. And that Bill Haney, man, freaking what's it called? Sideshow Bob looking, you know, like he should just keep his mouth shut. You know what I mean? And just carry on, bro. You know, carry on pimping with what he has to do over there in Oakland, if he is from Oakland. You know what I'm saying?
He's not no Oakland street dude, man. This guy walks around with a thumb up his ass. Bill Haney, man, sit your dumb ass down. I mean, Bill Haney, get your son Devin a nostril reduction and bring up all the oxygen.
Hey, brother, I thought the only way that Devin Haney was gonna beat Ryan Garcia was for him to blow him into his nostrils into oblivion, brother. For real, brother. That's the only way that Devin Haney could beat Ryan Garcia. Other than that, man, the way it played out is just the way it played out. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's right.
All right, Nuke, man. Hey, much love, brother, and keep up the good work, man. And just keep exposing these people, man. And it's just gonna get heavy later on, bro, with Canelo's situation and with the Ryan Garcia, man. Keep standing up with the truth, and that's all that matters the most, you know.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you coming on, and don't forget to come back after the fights, my brother. Salute, family.
I salute, brother. Bye.
All right, man. My brother states, if you're oh no, let me try this again. If you're currently nursing a yeast infection, this is not for you. The differences is between backing up Canelo versus David is the resume. Canelo has a huge list on his, while David Benavidez has Plant, literally only Caleb Plant. And you can give Caleb Plant a legitimate name on David Benavidez's resume, and I'll even give him Demetrius Andre, although Demetrius Andre probably was the biggest hype job of the century. I mean, if we're being honest about it. And it's the resumes is why people really look at Canelo completely different from David, is because he's put in the work, he's put in the time, he's put in the effort, and he's taken those chances. And somehow people still ignore that fact. My brother Lord Scante says, shout out to Southpaw Mama, the throat goat. My brother Sam Shaw, shout out to Devin Haney. He says, not a nostril reduction. Yeah, man, you got to reduce them nostrils, man. It's enough for breathing up all the oxygen. What's wrong with this man? Selfish. I mean, we got to keep that same energy, man. We got to keep the same energy. Hold on, I got another one. My brother Monte Carlo. He says, Nuke, you said it 2 years ago. Devin Haney is food for Ryan Garcia and Teofimo. Make that make sense. Salute to you, Monte Carlo. Salute to the chat, and salute to everybody else. And we got to keep that same energy.